What are the Chicago Bears' chances of making the playoffs this upcoming season? Let's talk about it. What is going on, y'all? Faiz Sports all back at it with another video talking, of course, NFL here to talk about the Chicago Bears. And I'm going to break down what the Bears' chances are of making the playoffs this upcoming season. So if you're a Bears fan, please do hit the big red subscribe button down below. I promise you, you will not regret it. Make sure to follow me on my social media platforms, guys. And as always, hit the bell icon so you're notified every time I drop a new video. All right, so this is interesting, people. This is interesting. We're going into year 2 of the rebuild, right? Last year was year 1 with Ryan Poles under the helm, and obviously the Chicago Bears got the worst record in football, got the #1 overall pick, and obviously that worked out to our favor because we were actively tanking. Now it's a whole different story because now you're in year 2, and now you're climbing up from the bottom. Well, we've seen a lot of NFL teams, a lot of them, make the jump from last to first. It happens all the time in football. Doesn't happen in other sports like basketball, but in football it happens a lot. And the question is, could the Bears be one of those teams? Well, let's just take a look at a couple things here. First and foremost, I didn't want to use this stat here, but I just thought it was interesting, so let me just throw it out there. ESPN's Football Power Index says the Bears have a 34.1% chance to make the playoffs. Look, man, I do not trust ESPN's Power Index a lot because they've been wrong on a lot of things, but just wanted to throw that number out there for you, okay? So 34.1% chance is what ESPN's football PI gives the Bears. That's the 12th worst, I think, in the NFL. In our own division, they gave the Lions a 65% chance to make the playoffs and the Vikings a 51% chance. Makes sense. Lions are considered the best team in the division, and the Vikings, we're coming off a 13-win season, you would think they are still going to be formidable. All right, here's how I look at it, all right? We take a look at the conference, the NFC, and it's pretty weak, all right? It's pretty weak. If we were in the AFC, I would, right here, right now, just tell you the Bears are not making the playoffs this year. End of story, end the video, right then and there. Because it's just too many good teams in the AFC. It's too many good teams, and I'm not going to waste my time thinking that the Bears are making the playoffs unless, a handful of those starting quarterbacks got hurt for those teams, because it's just not going to happen, right? With the Chiefs, the Chargers, the list goes on and on of the good teams, the Bills, and now they have the Jets with Aaron Rodgers. Not going to happen. NFC, completely different story. Let's just start with this. How many teams do you feel like are legitimately guaranteed playoff spot teams next year? Like you can pencil them in right now to take up a playoff spot. I'm going to say the Eagles for sure, right? They won the NFC last year and they made it to the Super Bowl. And then I'd say the 49ers for sure. All right. Just talent all across the board. I know the quarterback situation a little muddy, but for sure those two teams. All right. So now you got what? 5 more spots left. So after that, I think the Cowboys are pretty much a lock to make the playoffs too. I know, the Cowboys have been like the running joke, if you will, because they haven't won anything significant since the 90s in terms of Super Bowls. But this is still a talented team with a talented quarterback. And, I think they make the playoffs next year. So that's 3 teams right there. And then we get into a lot of these question marks here, right? We brought up the Lions. Do we really trust the Lions to actually do it this year and make the playoffs? Then you got teams like the Saints in a weak division. They just added Derek Carr. They could potentially win. You got teams like the Giants, wait last year. I'm not a big believer in Daniel Jones. Seahawks with Geno Smith, can he do it again? There's a lot of these teams that are like question marks. You don't feel strongly about any of them. What about the Rams, right? That's another team right there. Underperformed last year completely. What is Matt Stafford's health? So do you get what I'm trying to say here with the NFC being completely wide open and very weak? And you take a look at the Bears, enter the Chicago Bears. I believe right now they're better than the Falcons, the Panthers, the Cardinals, the Commanders. They're better than those teams right now. So if we said the 49ers, Eagles, and Cowboys are going to be playoff teams, now let's say you got 4 spots left. Well, let's say the Eagles win their division, obviously, and the 49ers win their division. The 2 other divisions, let's say the Lions win the NFC North. Just, worked with me here. And then let's say the Seahawks win the NFC West, the teams that won it last year. We'll just go with that. So now that's 4 spots with the 4 division winners, and then let's add the Cowboys. That's 5 gone. 2 more playoff spots left. Well, for those 2 playoff spots, you got teams in the mix. Let me go through them, right? You would have the Giants in the mix, potentially the Rams in the mix. You would have the Vikings in the mix. Those are kind of the teams, maybe the Buccaneers, but obviously I don't think they'll be that formidable without Tom Brady. And you got the Bears, you got the Packers maybe. And so you get my point here is, even if you pencil in, let's say the Giants who made it last year, it's 1 playoff spot left. And the Bears' chances against teams like the Packers, teams like the Rams, teams like, these underwhelming teams, I don't hate their chances. So I'm going to go ahead and say that the Bears probably have a 40% chance, maybe 45% chance to make the playoffs next year, just based off the weakness of the NFC. And if Justin Fields makes a leap, man, like he just shoots up and takes that next step as a quarterback, this goes to like closer to 50%. I truly believe that. The Jaguars just did it last year, right? Going from last to first because Trevor Lawrence made a leap. It's very possible, especially when you're in a weak division like the NFC North. Imagine if the Bears were in the NFC South. I mean, that division is putrid. So to me, I really, really think the Bears' chances to make the playoffs are a lot higher than people think. I still feel like they're a year away from truly contending, but if we're just talking making the playoffs, getting a wild card spot, 40-45% chance. If Fields takes that leap, maybe a 50% chance, just because of how weak the NFC is. Let me know what you guys think, man. Am I tripping? Am I not? Leave a comment down below as always. Thanks a lot.